Let's go ahead and get started, everybody.
Oh my God, you really shrunk that.
Yeah, please keep your shoes back. Keep your shoes back. Thank you.
Is it okay? Is it okay to put stuff on the kitchen table?
Please do. I have this table over here and this one for us this morning.
Okay, that's awesome.
Do you want a like cup of coffee or a bottle of water or anything?
You know what? I just had coffee, so I'm okay. Thank you.
Okay, awesome.
Thanks. You know, we have two ways we could go about this. We could sit down and talk first, or you could show me your house. What would you prefer?
Well, I'll show you around just because I feel like it's really, really messy and I don't want you to like think about it while we're talking. So I'm just going to show you around everything. So
Okay.
This is the kitchen.
Okay. Cool.
Kitchen.
And just did you have a leak from the bathroom up here, or that's a really common leak? So don't feel bad.
You know, it's funny. I have no idea. I that just showed up one day, so I have no clue what that is. And then
can I see a question? Do you mind if I take pictures while we go?
Please do.
Okay.
Please do.
Okay.
Yeah,
great.
absolutely.
Okay.
And then we have one bedroom down here. It's the master suite or the biggest bedroom in the house. And then we have 3 bedrooms upstairs. A half bath is over there and 3 bathrooms total.
I'm thinking, first of all, not to, don't feel bad about the mess. I totally get, are all of these your children? Because
these are my kids.
I get it. Like, this is a big deal.
I have an in-house daycare.
It's gonna be a lot of toys. And when we get the house listed, a lot of people have aversions to pet food. Just by the way, they don't have aversions to toys so much.
Okay.
But I see how like both the dog food and the cat food are here. I don't mind. I have pets myself, but so people kind of with pet food. So we'll stash it away a little bit.
So should I take the cat and the dog out completely?
Well, for showings, but we'll get to that when we get there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Okay, perfect. So and then what's the basement like?
It's just like, your traditional Ohio City basement. It's just crumbles of rocks.
Okay. You mind if I run down there? You don't even have to go.
Please go.
Okay, great. Great. Wonderful. Oh,
yes.
I see what you mean about those crumbles of rocks. Okay.
Yes.
You got a little stuff to do there.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Let's sit down.
Okay,
Let's
great.
talk. And I think that, as we go through things, it'll become a little evident, what you're thinking, what we should do. I did mean to take some notes as we went, and I have my handy dandy notebook with me. Can we talk about a couple of little things? Could we talk about, please, do you carry a mortgage on this property?
I do carry a mortgage on this property, yes.
Do you know the approximate balance?
220,000.
220. And you said you wanted to move because there wasn't really room for the home daycare. Is that's still relevant?
Yes, we would just like a bigger footprint, bigger yard, just a bigger house.
Okay, bigger house. Okay. And you said you needed to be there by
January 1. February
26th?
Yeah, February.
Okay. Well, we've got our work cut out for us. I brought just for fun, by the way. I don't know if you're thinking about doing any painting or anything, but to show you the most kind of popular colors right now, I did bring the paint deck just in case we decide to want to discuss that. And I did bring a lockbox with today with the thinking that, we'll need access to the house for showings. And I'll hang it on the house. We can put a spare key in there so that we have that all ready to go when you list the house.
Perfect. That's great.
Okay. Great. So, did you have anything you wanted to ask me?
No, the biggest things for me today are I really want to make sure I can get the money that I need to purchase my next house. And yeah, no, you're the first person of like 3 realtors that I've invited over. So I don't really know what I'm doing. So I'll just let you do your thing.
Beautiful. So my thinking today is that when we're done, I want to save you some time. I mean, it's a lot. When you have, 20 children in your house every single day, it's a lot. And plus the dogs and cats, it's really a lot. So I'd love to save you some time and have me be the only realtor you have to meet with. How does that sound?
That would be super helpful as long as it sounds like I can get what I'm looking for. Honestly, that's fine with me.
Okay. So I did bring some numbers with today. Cleveland Heights is a little bit of a funny market. Tell me what you know about it.
Nothing. This is my first house here. You know, it's very charming in the neighborhood.
It
But
is.
other than
It
that,
really
I
is.
know zero.
Okay. One thing I think is really interesting is it's got some super high end, and then it's got neighborhoods that are not quite as expensive. And it's important to pay attention to because sometimes people want to price their house based on square footage of what the house, how big the house is, which is relevant. But if you think about a new construction house, that's really where square footage comes into play.
Yeah.
Because in those homes, it's clear that the builder put X, Y, and Z into every single home. And then maybe this house has an upgrade.
Sure.
In a city like Cleveland Heights, it's different, right? Because your house is built in 1934 and this house is built in 1964, and they're just different animals.
Yeah. Yeah. I could definitely see that.
Okay. And then what we're talking about, I heard you say, what you need to get out of the house. Have you thought about that dollar amount?
Well, we're looking at houses now, of dream homes that we'd like to fit our 20 kids in. And it looks like we'll have to spend about 600,000. And so I'd like to list this house at 450. So I can have 250,000 as a down payment.
Cool. When you go to buy butter,
Mhm.
do you buy butter?
I love that.
Me too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I have to write it down because we both work butter.
I love butter.
Okay, so when you go to buy butter, where do you usually do your grocery shopping?
I really like Heinen.
Okay, so when you're at Heinen's, do you get to choose the price of the butter?
No, I wish.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes when you see the price, you're like, but yesterday it was $1 less for
Yes.
the packet. Like, what's
So
going on?
true. What
Yeah.
the heck? Butter these days.
Right. So that's the thing, is that you didn't get to choose the price and you didn't get to set the price. And unfortunately, real estate is like that too. We get to choose the price, we get to set the price, but within parameters. So I want to make sure.
Well, I did update the kitchen.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
When I saw
thinking.
that leak from the bathroom upstairs, that gave me a little bit of pause. That made me a little nervous.
Fair. Don't know what that is, but the kitchen is beautiful. So
It is. All I'm saying is that I'm going to do my best to get you the dollars out that you want. At the end of the day, the market's going to speak.
perfect.
And we'll have to do what the market tells us to do.
I might just wait then, really. Like we could just wait until the market tells me I can get the 450, what do you think?
Yeah. You can wait. Waiting is definitely an option. What we're seeing right now is the market's still really strong in favor of sellers in Cleveland. In general, I'll talk about your specific house, but in general. And we're seeing that everything that's priced right is selling at least, it's selling quickly, I would say. And even last week, we had a team agent that was in a four-way multiple. Do you know what that means?
Oh, like 4 people trying to buy the same house?
Yeah. A lot of people in the world will just call it a bidding war. I don't know why everybody likes to say that, but it sounds fun, I guess.
Sure.
So she was in a bidding war for a house, and her clients did pay way over asking.
Well, would it make sense I know you have a full presentation, but in the essence of talking about waiting, I know there's like a whole government shutdown thing right now. Like, should I just wait until that's over or?
Well, since you run your own business with the 20 children daycare, I would probably say it's not going to affect you so much.
Okay.
And I haven't seen that that's affected the housing market, at least yet.
Okay.
Might have affected the flights, but okay. So what I want to talk about for just a minute, if we could, is I think that one of the hardest things to talk about when we talk about selling homes, when we talk about selling homes, is actually talking about money.
Okay.
Most people are not so used to just talking dollars and cents. So if it's okay, what I'd really like to do is I'd like to think about your takeaway from a given sale. And what I did is I have in my folder for you here, I have some sale prices, but also I want to make you aware of closing costs, and I want to make you aware of property taxes, and I want to make you aware of paying commissions.
Perfect. Okay.
So tell me what questions you have about those things before we start.
Well, your commission's negotiable, of course.
Oh, always.
Okay. Awesome. Because I know the next person, and I do really like you, I would prefer to not have any other realtors here, but just for reference, the next realtor did say that they would charge 2%.
They said they would charge 2%.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I would really encourage you not to pick your agent based on commission percentage. I urge you to choose your agent based on who you develop a quick and easy relationship with, who you trust, and who has a really proven track record.
Okay, okay, I'll definitely consider it, but I think at the end of the day, like the money is a huge deal.
It is. It
Okay.
is. Money is a huge deal. It's a huge deal to all of us. It's just that most people don't talk about it. So you said that you owe 220 on your mortgage.
Yes,
So I think that's an important starting point because you said you wanted to take away about 200 as well, correct?
yes,
Okay, so you've got to be here. Now, unfortunately, any way you slice it, selling for $420,000 isn't going to get you the 200 out. Is that something you were aware of?
well, now that you say that there's a bunch of things that I have to pay, it makes sense, but it was not something I thought about, no.
Okay. How bad are you, or, I hate to say bad, but how bad are your property taxes in Cleveland Heights?
It's about 9,000 annually,
Okay.
so,
If you took
Yeah.
9,000, yeah, it's all just math, exactly.
yeah,
So you know what I like to do is I really like to round up on everything. That way you're pleasantly surprised at the end. Usually what I do though is, did you know while you're current on your property taxes that we always pay our property taxes behind?
in the rears,
It's
yes,
called arrears. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. So just want to make sure you knew that because a lot of people aren't aware of that.
yes,
When you leave this house December 31st, you're going to owe property taxes for basically this entire year.
did the buyer just say that?
They could, but they probably won't.
Okay.
So let's add $9,000 on here. And then let's add on some amount of money for closing costs. A lot of zeros, isn't it? That put us at 4 million, which would be cool, but probably not what this house is going to sell at.
Okay,
Okay. So now when we talk about closing costs, I always budget for sellers 1.5% to 2%. Oh, thank you. I knew that I'm in one part or another. That when I think about closing costs, I always budget 2%. It doesn't quite cost 2% for closing costs, but that way again, you're pleasantly surprised in the end.
okay.
Closing costs cover a bunch of things. Do you know what they cover?
I think that they just covered your commission.
So unfortunately, there's a cost of doing, I'm going to replay that sentence. It doesn't cover my commission at all. Actually, closing costs cover the transfer tax they charge the sellers downtown by the county, Bates County.
Mm.
And it covers something called title insurance that we all have on our title. So that back in the day, nobody can come back and say, oh, really, this was my mother's house and we still own it.
Okay,
So you have insurance on your title, I have insurance on my title, and that fee is split 50-50 between buyers and sellers.
okay,
So if we're going to count 2%, I'm going to count $8,000
okay,
in closing costs. It's around, it's an approximate number. So here we are, and then we get to the fun discussion of commission. So you sounded like you were thinking about discount brokerages.
they didn't say they were a discount brokerage, they just said, because they were a referral of one of my really good friends, they would give me a discount. Yeah,
Get that? What do you think that you kind of like get for the discount?
he didn't say that there was gonna be anything different, I'm assuming it's gonna be his normal thing, and just because he, knows our friends, he's gonna do it for us.
Got it. I would really urge you not to assume,
Okay,
but I would have, again, I don't even really want you to have somebody else in here. You have a lot on your plate. There's a lot going on. And really to get the house ready for a great sale, I would urge you to figure out some storage or maybe just some systems for dealing with all of the things. And it's not reasonable when you run a home daycare not to have toys. It's just, you got to.
definitely.
But on the other hand, you want your partner to walk in and be like, oh, this is so beautiful. And remember, everybody's watching TV and everybody's on social media all day. And all they do is scroll through Zillow, looking at empty, beautiful rooms that are staged perfectly with,
Sure,
West Elm furniture and stuff.
sure, that makes sense.
Yeah. So we'll think about that a little bit, but I really want you to focus on the end result here for
Okay,
yourself, because I really want for you what you want for yourself.
that makes sense.
In fact, on my notes here, I have some ways to upgrade your look, really not for very much money. Just making sure, I don't know what you're doing Sunday, but I would kind of get out and tidy up the yard.
Oh, I didn't even think, I knew we were gonna have to do some yard work, but do you think that that will change how much money I can get?
I think two main things. I think when you tidy up the yard and you really scrub down your front door, it makes a difference. You'd be surprised. Buyers and agents come to the door and the lockbox is hanging here. And the agent is like fiddling with the lockbox and the buyers are going like this. And they're kind of going, wow, these people must not take very good care of their house because it's covered in cobwebs and dusty and blah, blah, blah.
That makes sense. I never thought about it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I would take care of those things. And again, that's just, time.
Okay.
It's just time.
But you'll give us a list.
I will.
Okay.
I will do this. But back here to the money and the commission, I think we should address that up front because I don't want that to leave that hanging to the very end.
Okay.
Okay. So what questions do you have for me before we discuss that?
Well, how much are you charging?
Typically, I do charge 3% commission
Okay.
for listing a house,
Okay.
and it is entirely up to you whether you decide to pay a buyer's agent's commission. What I'm seeing in the field, I think this is really important. Our team sold about 165 homes this year. And what I'm seeing over and over and over again is that sellers are contributing to buyer's agents' commissions.
And that's in Cleveland Heights?
It's really all over the board.
Okay.
Really all over the board, but great question. What I'm seeing offered off the top is 2%, but I'm also seeing that buyer's agents are similarly charging 3%. Sometimes the seller's paying for all of that. Sometimes the buyer's paying for part of it. And sometimes the seller is paying for none of it. But bottom line is, when the house sells, your net number is what's important to you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really care if we charge 10% as long as you get what you need out of this sale.
Yeah, we can just bump up the sales price 10%, right?
Well, that would be fun. I don't think we can quite do that. It was sort of more of an example.
Oh,
Could happen.
Okay. Okay. Perfect.
So if we were to do a quick 3% on the sale, I'm going to call that a 13.5 just as a round number there. And then what we have to do is we have to decide whether in the end your house is going to sell for $450,500. And if that number is the right target number for this house in Cleveland Heights, we're golden.
Okay.
If it's a little high, there's a really solid chance we'll have to take an adjustment.
Okay. That makes sense.
Okay.
So do you think it's worth 450?
What I'd love to do is I'd love to review comparables with you. So this one has this one has this, and this one has that.
Okay, awesome.
And since you're a numbers person, I brought you really, it's not so pretty. Well, you received my email yesterday with the link
Yeah.
with the comparables, right?
I did receive your pre-listing packet and your comparables email. Yes.
Okay, beautiful. Because what I did there is I wanted to show you the visual of the homes that I was choosing. And here's the numbers so that you can see what's going on. There's one home here that was on the market for 579 days. You will hate me if your house is on the market for 579 days, and you will be complaining.
Okay.
In the end, my goal is a 5-star review from you when I walk out the door today.
Okay. I can do that, but I definitely think my house is as nice as the ones that are selling for 450.
Yeah, I totally get that. I would say if you look at the really hard numbers, if you're really just as honest, take yourself out, take your needs out, take the home daycare out, and you're just looking at the hard data. If you're looking at hard data, I'm really going to say that you're much more in the 390 to 420 range. And I would just ask you if your house sold at 390, if you could live with that. So let's say you would take out of it, instead of taking out $200,000, let's say you took out 150. Could you make the next move?
I mean, not happily, but I could.
You could.
Yeah.
Okay. And would it still get you the bigger space that you wanted and the more land that you wanted in the suburb that you wanted?
It would get me all of the things that I want. I would just be poor. House poor. Broke.
Well, since there's a government shutdown, no.
Okay.
It's a funny thing with houses, right? Because I don't encourage anybody to be in over their head. On the other hand, historically, housing has proved to be a solid, I don't want to even use the word investment, but a solid place to put your money, that over the long term, everybody who's ever been a homeowner, it ended up really well for them. So think probably if you went into your next house, even down, that we're talking about being down, maybe even $50,000, you'd probably in the end still be okay, especially with a thriving business that you're running.
Well, do you think I could probably get a good deal on the next house that I'm buying? Like,
We would work really hard on that. Yes, we'd work really hard on that.
Okay.
But I think the reality check of it is super important because of that extra $50,000. Like, what were you thinking you were going to do with that?
Use it all directly for my down payment.
So you wanted to have a down payment of $200,000 on your next place.
Yeah, because I wanted the mortgage at the $600,000 house to feel like the mortgage in this house.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's something you'll have to think about.
Okay.
So to discuss with your significant other and see if the financials fit for you. My sense is that you'll probably be fine.
Okay.
What
Is
other
there
questions do you have for
anything
me?
Yeah, there's one that's like burning. What can you do to like make my house look more like 420 and 430, 440?
What I can do, and I'll tell you, a lot of people really believe in staging, and I want to clear up a common misconception. A common misconception is that stagers will come in while you live here, while you're running the daycare, while the animals are here, and they will like spruce things up and bring in all the beautiful things and put the plants and hang the pictures. And unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. Stagers work in vacant homes.
Oh,
okay. It's really an important distinction. That having been said, when I open this up and I see that the peacock blue is really in, I'm going to tell you that you could paint the kitchen this color, even though you have that upgraded kitchen, and you could paint the living room, and that could make a difference in your overall look.
well, there's cherry red.
Oh, there's true. Okay.
Over here.
Well, that's not bad. Sherwin-Williams has a whole ton of neutrals. This panda white is one of our more popular colors
I
right
like
now.
that.
Yeah, and that's a good one. And then if I don't know if you're still into the grays, a lot of people are leaning towards the neutrals these days.
Okay.
Where they used to be in the grays, but that's something we can talk about.
Okay.
And then the other thing I can do is I would walk through with you and suggest, like, all those the wooden climbing structures, instead of being in each corner of the room, and I understand why that works for you. I think that probably you could do with 1 or 2 instead of 4. And I think that probably the diaper station could go maybe tucked in a bedroom or something like that. Even though for your business, I totally understand how it makes sense.
Yeah.
But you want your lifestyle to equal what people want lifestyle to equal. And most people aren't running home daycares.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. Perfect. Sounds good.
The other thing I could do for you that I think is really important is we always use professional photography.
Oh, okay. You'll do the photography?
Well, I won't personally do the photography because I wouldn't be any good at it. But we do bring a professional photographer in. Your house will look amazing in the pictures. Amazing.
Okay.
We have over a 20,000 person database. I'll be emailing your house out to, pushing your house out to. We have a big social media following. We'll be using that. And we're very, very, very well known in the community. So that has proven to be very helpful for our clients as well.
I keep seeing, like, when I'm just admittedly using ChatGPT and Google and things, like, it keeps telling me that like the most important thing is the marketing. So do you use any kind of like fancy marketing, or like how will that work?
We have this really thing that we've just discovered recently, which is like as old as history in marketing, which is this and a door. And we've noticed that literally door knocking the neighborhood before we do open houses has brought a lot of people to our open houses just to invite them and like, hey, what are 3 things that you love about the neighborhood? And we've noticed that that's been working really, really well. It's not fancy, it's us. And we bring with a little, little collateral, a little postcard, something to leave behind. That's been very helpful. And then we've also just noticed that making sure the house looks as good as it can, because your photos are your first impression and you're showing with the physical person, it's actually like a second showing.
Okay. What about like Facebook and like Instagram and things like that? Do you post any kind of marketing photos there.
We're way into Facebook and we're way into Instagram. We love both. And
Okay,
we have a big, heavy media presence there. And I would really ask you one question at this point, which I meant to ask the first minute I met you, which is, if you like everything that you hear today, will we list this house today?
I think that I have a 50%, I want to just list it, get it over with, and I like everything that you're saying, and the other 50% of me is like, wait till the spring so we can make more money.
What if the market collapses between now and the spring?
Well, what if I can get 450 in the spring, and then I don't have to worry about a commission and things like that?
Do you have a crystal ball?
Not here.
Me either. That's the thing. I
Got it.
don't. And I wish I could predict the market. That would be my biggest wish in real estate. If I had my wish, I could predict markets, but since I can't, I would urge you to go with today's market and to accomplish what you're looking to accomplish without stressing out about a few dollars.
What do you feel like? And sorry, I'm so new to this, so I don't know if this is the right term, but like everybody says you make more money because of a spring market.
Statistically, that isn't the truth. Statistically, what we see, yes, in Cleveland, we have more sales in spring, just the weather's better. But the serious buyers are out there right now.
Okay. Well, yeah, I want to list my house as soon as possible then. I think I just have to be like really, really set on. I have to be really set on.
It's okay.
I have to be really set about the price that I want to list the house at. So as long as you will list my house at the price that I want to list it at, I would love to work with you.
So we have two options here. We have the option where we list it at your dream price and see how it goes. And then in 3 weeks, with no offer, that's 21 days, direct with no offer, we drop the price by 10%.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So we were talking about this basically 450 price. We dropped the price by $45,000.
Oh, what if there's just no showings the first week? Could we drop it $10,000?
Well, what I want us to be on the same team. And I don't want us to, like, you're feeling like I'm not doing the thing. I'm feeling like you're not doing the thing, because we're on the same team here. We're on team Get Kate's House Sold.
Yeah, sure.
And to do that together, we should really be in alignment. And I'm happy to list it at your price. And then trust me, my lips are sealed as far as other agents calling me, Shoshana, did you overlist that house at 450? Because believe me, that happens. That happens every day. And by the way, did you know a lot of my job is jumping up and down in front of other realtors? Hey, buy my listings. Bring your buyer to my listing.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I want us to be completely aligned. And if you're okay with listing it perfectly in line with, remember the butter analogy, you didn't get to choose the price.
Yeah.
If you're okay in listing it in line with the market, it's better.
Okay. I think I'll list at 450, and then in 21 days we could do your thing. That sounds good.
Okay. Okay. I got it. Butter. Yeah. So
They were hard.
I totally hear you. I'm okay with that. I want to look you in the eye. Okay. And I want to say that at the end of this together, when we get to the end of the road and you have a large deposit in your bank account, I want you to like me. I want you to call all your friends and tell them about me. And I don't want you to say, I had this realtor and she made me price drop and price drop and price drop.
Okay, yeah, it definitely makes me feel like I'm making you price drop because I'm wanting $450,000. So what if we just do like 420?
I'm better with that. That's the upper end of our range.
Okay.
I don't hate that.
So at 420, would we still have to drop 10%?
Well, so here's the thing with 10%. How much is 10% of $420,000?
42,000.
Is that a lot?
That feels like a lot.
It does feel like a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Make another number up.
Like to list my house at?
No. If you needed a price drop.
Oh, how about
percent or 10,000?
10,000.
10,000. Okay, so you went from 420 to 410. Okay, let me tell you one little quick thing. Did you know that when your house hits the market, those couple of days, maybe even a week, is the most wildly exciting time? We listed a condo in Highland Heights this week, not exactly a condo, townhouse in Highland Heights. The first few days were madness. And then I believe we received probably three offers on it in the first couple of days because it was that exciting. I don't want it to be that people are like, oh, what's wrong with that house? We can bid under. Buyers always say that, like, what's wrong with it? Can we get a deal on it?
That makes sense.
So I want to make sure that you get the right.
Okay. So if we start at 420 and then after 21 days, we don't see anything, we'll drop to the 390.
I think that's a good plan.
Okay. That sounds good.
Okay, wonderful. I'll drop the paperwork. Do you prefer to sign on paper or digitally?
Digitally.
Okay, great. We'll take care of it right now. I'll bring out my computer.
Okay. That sounds good.
Nice to meet you.
Okay. We gave you a hard one. I felt very difficult at the fire, but I'm sure this is exactly what you guys hear. The only other one I wanted to talk about, and maybe we could role play for just 2 or 3 minutes, is this house is not in a city you've ever sold in before.
Okay, great. Who knows where Mentor is? Mentor. Forget Mentor?
Manor.
I was on a listing appointment in Mentor, and this guy goes, but you're not from around here. I'm like, sure, I'm from around here. It's around here.
Yeah.
I actually didn't get the listing. I did not get the listing. And it is a challenge. And I would flip that on its head in 2 ways. The first thing is whenever I go on a listing appointment, so I do live in Beechwood, University Heights, South Euclid, Shaker Heights, anybody of the surrounding suburbs right there, I'm like, oh, I'm your neighbor. I live in Beechwood. Or, oh, we live in Beechwood. I live in Beechwood too. This house is in Beechwood. Like whatever. So you could really use that to your advantage wherever you live. I don't know why people care. I literally don't know why they care. So if the objection is you don't live here, you can say, you're right. But I'm a regional realtor and I cover the entire area and happen to, pop over here as needed.
Yeah. Okay. And then if this was your first ever house and you didn't have prior sales to say, well, this is what I did at the last listing.
I would look up our brokerage statistics. You probably know off the top of your head. About how many did we list this year?
List or close?
Whatever. Doesn't matter either way.
I don't even think my team is in here.
Okay, doesn't matter.
We'll probably
Thousands.
close just under 5,000.
Okay, total. So let's call half of the listings, 2,000 probably were listed.
Yeah.
So you're right. This is my first deal. I'm so excited. I'm backed by a brokerage that sold over 2,000 listings this year alone. I have 450 agents I can call for advice as needed. I'm really excited and I'm so dedicated to your sale. And we all had our first sale one day. And believe me, the number of people, there's 3 lines I get in every single listing appointment and I consider them signposts. And I'm not going to remember all 3, but one of them is always like, well, I'm not going to just give it away. Literally. Yeah. Terry's nodding. Yeah. Every single person says that at some point in the listing appointment. And I'm like, okay, I know. Okay. And I even thought about that. Well, yeah, exactly. I thought about pulling out my camera and asking every single person who said that to say it again on video and then stringing them together, but it's so rude.
You're like, that's funny. Say it again.
So rude. I would not do that. But I'm not going to just give it away. That's number one, is always the commission objection is real. You get a lot of commission objections. And, frankly, okay, commissions can be negotiable. On the other hand, why should you give yourself away? Like, why shouldn't you? And you worked so hard for your money. And I know it looks like, to the outside world, it really looks like we do very little and get paid a lot. But every single person in this room works really hard and earns every single penny that comes their way. So, and I charge, just by the way, I charge an $8.95 transaction fee. 250 of it goes to our beloved brokerage. And I charge $7.95 for a buyer transaction, which actually I learned from Ryan. So Ryan said at one point, he's like, oh, I up my fees. I was like, oh yeah, I did too. And so that's just additional commission dollars as well, because you're paying for this photography and all this business is not inexpensive.
One thing that they wanted to learn more about, and I think you can just not in role play, just explain, how do you find your comps? And what makes like a comp a very good comp to bring to a listing appointment?
You guys, it's miserable times out there for comps. It's because of few sales, it's really, really, really challenging. And I'm gonna show you exactly what I do. I always print, and I know, sorry, Freeze, the RPR Pro report is free. You set up your little photo and your whatever in here, and it looks really nice. I think it's important because that way you say to them, look, there is a tool I have available to me. And this tool, and I really have this listing coming up in Cleveland Heights.
Yeah.
And they really don't think that it should be priced where I told them. Really true.
Yeah.
1489 Crest. It was a really, really charming house when they bought it 8 years ago or something, 10 years ago. And now it's been tenant occupied for a long time. So it's just I'm just tired. It's not bad. It's just kind of tired. No air conditioning because it's Cleveland Heights. And you know, typical Cleveland Heights kind of home. The RPR report says it's worth $233. $233. You know, I just circle that. I say as a data point, we're going to collect data points. Then the other thing I always bring, and oh, somehow it didn't come with me. That's okay. I always screenshot the front page of Zillow and I print it out. And I know we all realtors all detest Zillow, but you know, when I said, let's look at what the consumer is going to look at. When the consumer looks at this, and Zillow didn't think this house was worth $230. Zillow thought this house was worth like $229 or something like that, which is getting closer to the price that I wanted. But then I did the whole thing. I made a Loom video. I sat there on Loom. I know the seller, and I sold him the house in the first place. And he says to me, "You don't need to walk through it."
It looks the same.
Yeah, it looks the same exactly. I mean, I did walk through it probably a year ago, so so I know that's how I know the price is not quite as hefty as he wants it to be. But the thing is that when I pulled the comparables, which I pulled from Cleveland Heights, I used the geography in Cleveland Heights, and I understand that some of them were more like cottages and some of them were flips, and I you know what, the prices weren't great. Well, they're not bad. I pulled 225, 230, and 235. I knew that he really would like. He wanted more than 235, and the highest report that I found anywhere was 233. So, you know, so I'm doing my very, very best, and I'm explaining what I'm using. I always stay in the same city. You could go with bedrooms and bathrooms. You could go with style. You could go with air conditioning, detached garage, whatever your criteria for that specific city is. I would say could be.
You know, one thing that you did that I really appreciate, and when we've done these classes before, like some of the like limiting beliefs that we hear the crowd say is like, well, I just want to be really nice. Like, I don't want to tell them that their house is not worth it. But I want to say this was you when we first, I want to say you said this, and this was like 10 months ago.
Right.
And you're like, the nicest thing you can do is just be honest to them.
Yeah.
And like in this appointment you just had with me during the role play, it was not like, you did not bluff me. Like you literally were just honest with me. And that's the nicest thing that you can do to a client.
Wait.
Is just educating them and making sure that they actually understand what this process will look and feel like instead of just giving them what they want. So I really appreciated that you did that, and you just did not give into the silliness of like, well, we'll just raise the price or we can cut the commission. Like,
Who here has a hard time talking about money with their significant other? And I'm raising my hand.
Oh.
It's really nobody.
oh, I do.
Nobody has a hard time talking about money. Oh, that's amazing. Okay, I think talking about money is one of the
It's so awkward.
hardest conversations.
Yeah.
It is so hard. It's harder than health and wellness. It's harder than like anything. If you're into politics, if you're into spirituality, you know, whatever you're into, it is a really, really, really hard topic. So I think it's important to get over it with strangers. It's easier to talk about money with a stranger than it is to talk about money with somebody you love. It just is.
Yeah.
I can look you. I don't really care whether you take $200,000 out of this house.
Yeah.
I don't care because you're not my significant other. You're my client.
Yeah. Yeah.
For you, I want the best for you.
Yeah.
But in the end of the day, you know, is what it is.
Yeah.
I want to say one thing about this, and just to show you one thing on my thinking on this. I know there's a million listing presentations. You can buy digital, you can buy paper. There's stuff in command. I'm sure Tori would make something.
Yeah.
For anybody who
Definitely.
wants. What I found is I got the same questions every time, and so I divided this into sections. I don't care where I start. Okay, so I have the home selling process for somebody who wants to know how do you sell a home. Oh, you want to talk about selling a home? I just flip it over. why are you any good? So proven track record. That's just, I can show them what I've got. Going. They want to talk about staging. I got that covered here, what I think they should do, the basics, and then I write it in. Pro tip I learned from one of our team members who used to be in auto sales: buy yourself a box of green Sharpies. Green is money. And you write down things that I write in here in green Sharpie as I go. And then I hand this I take a snap picture of it so I know they know I've listened to them. And they're keeping this. And one thing Alex said in a listing appointment recently that I really loved is, we came with the folder of stuff and he goes, "You'll get to keep everything in here." And I was like, "Oh, that's so cool. That's like, I work for you and you get to keep it." I thought that was a great line, by the way, to tell you that. Then I have, then I have 2 different money sections in here and I have a marketing section because they all ask the marketing question. What do you do to market my listing? It's here. Our amazing marketing, it's here. And then 2 money things. Let's talk money and pricing. So this is what you're going to net from the sale, and this is the pricing of your home. And I try to suggest a range. I think ranges make people a little more comfortable because if you go, "Oh, that has to be 237.5," they're like, "How'd you come up with that specific number?"
Yeah. There's 2 things that I want to open this up to Q&A, and just be respectful of everyone's time, but we could just chat with you all day. 2 things really quick. The prep before the appointment. So obviously you're preparing the research, the comps. You've already put together a list of preset seller questions you think that they'll ask. Do you call them first and say, "This is everything I'm bringing," or do you send them an email, a pre-listing packet? What's it like before the appointment?
Those are great questions. I currently do not have a pre-list packet.
Okay.
I do like a Loom video, really quick Loom with the comps, with the photos. I've done lots of printing of photos. Sometimes people look at them. It depends. It is not all age-based. You'd be surprised. Some people are really not digital, and some people don't like to look at screens while you're trying to show them something. And then, you guys, oh my gosh, I turn my computer on and I'm like, the screen is filthy. The keyboard is like full of crumbles. This is embarrassing. I mean, it's fine. You don't realize it. What are you bringing? You want to make sure your stuff is tidy. You might have an iPad that's your dedicated. That's how you do your listing presentation, and you've got your prompts up there. It's very important to see pictures. And I'm not making a joke that bathroom ceiling leak in the Heights into the kitchen is like in every house.
Every house, yeah.
I don't know why that is, but it just, you want a picture so you can see that house didn't have that bathroom ceiling. Like, let's make sure we get this taken care of.
Love that. And then the next one is if one of the good questions in here was, what is your close to get yourself the best chance of getting the listing signed? I loved your line of, are we listing your house today? Are we signing today? If you like everything.
Should say that first, definitely say that.
I love that. But if my answer was, I either way, I love you. I'm not interviewing anyone else, but I do have to think about it. What does your follow-up look like after the appointment?
Oh, I'll hound you.
Okay.
No, just
Okay.
But I'm pretty relentless on follow-up, and the thing about it is, who here wants just really truly to become a listing agent if you're not already, right? We all do. We want to control our time. And who doesn't love a buyer? I mean, we love our buyers. They're so sweet. They really are. They're so sweet. And they're mostly well-intentioned and mostly just want to get the house, right? But, in the end of the day, even I drag around for 6 months with, buyers. The best thing I ever learned was from Terry, actually, where during a buyer consult, I don't know if you still do this, but she says, Sam says, how many houses do you think you need to see? And they say
I love
10
question.
or something like that. And she could say, you might fall in love with the first one. It might only be one. It might be love at first sight.
I love that question.
And that's a brilliant question. So
just for everybody, if you didn't hear that, I think I love that you bring that up. If you're working with a buyer, you ask them, how many houses do you think that you need to see? So it really sets the stage of, we're not looking at 50 houses together, and you might find it on the first one. That is great. I love that.
Can you do what happens in 3 weeks when your house didn't sell?
Yeah, you want to role play really quick?
Here, you be the agent. You be the client.
Will you call me because it happened with me?
Ring.
Hello?
Hey, Dahlia, I have to tell you that we're hitting that 3-week mark, and I know that your house is still on the market. And that's a pain point, or are you okay with that?
Well, we've had a lot of showings, so I think probably something will happen soon.
So they might not, but have you noticed that the feedback is pretty negative about that fourth bedroom upstairs? It isn't truly a bedroom, it's more like a finished attic space.
Oh, yeah, I did notice that. I was thinking maybe if we move some of the boxes.
Okay, moving boxes could definitely help. Can we talk about pricing?
Sure, you can talk.
Okay, what I've noticed in your specific niche market, that there's 10 houses that match that exact criteria on the market today. And that makes me a little bit nervous and makes me know that we need to be super, super competitive. So if you're open to adjusting the pricing, I'd like to go ahead and do that today.
Well, I'd talk about pricing, but maybe we could not do the full 10% that we were talking about.
Maybe not do the full 10% we're talking about, but the thing is, if it's not compelling, it's not selling.
Right. So should we revisit the spring situation?
I don't see how spring's really going to make a difference in this case, because if those 10 houses haven't sold, how many times do you have to batter people? Like 50.
Mm-hmm.
Don't back down. If you know what's right, don't back down. Don't back down. What's the thing, guys? I have a child who has a lot of stuff, going on. And so her ear doctor wants to have a double ear surgery coming in January. I've been working on this for probably 2 years because I didn't think she needed it. I don't think she needed it. And finally, I was like, okay, she has to be the expert and I have to just be the parent. I'm not an ear expert. I have to allow her to be the doctor. And you feel like when you're the realtor, you have to be the expert. You're the expert in the room. How many houses is somebody going to sell in their lifetime?
4, 5.
Yeah. 2, 3, 4. When are you guys going to move, Alex? When are you in Holly? What's your 5 years?
So you need to-
Yeah,
you
yeah,
need to-
dude.
5 years, and you bought your
Your house in Cleveland Heights.
you bought yours 3 years ago.
Yeah.
You'll probably move in 5 years.
Yeah,
You'll upgrade. Okay. Now I know you're going to participate in lots of sales, but then you guys are going to buy a bigger house,
Right.
and then maybe you'll buy another one.
Right, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that's most people. I mean, that's most people.
Yeah.
They don't buy, they don't know.
Yeah.
But they do know they've asked ChatGPT for the questions of what they should be bugging their realtor on.
100%. I had to use that as the prep as a
Right.
buyer for this product.
What else?
Yeah, I'd love to open up for any questions that we didn't get to hit. I think that we got almost every single objection on the paper. You saw me, I was shifting through all of these.
I like that you're reading as we go.
Yeah, sorry about that. There's a lot, but I think
I don't have a question, but I just I like throughout how you from the moment you came in, you were doing the assumptive close,
yeah.
including the setup to the 5-star review. That just stood out throughout is you were setting yourself up for that the entire time that you were going to be her agent.
And honestly, as a buyer, or as a seller, that actually eased my mind a little bit.
Oh,
It
interesting.
made me feel better as a consumer because I was like, oh, she's really working hard. It didn't feel like, oh, she just wants a review. It felt like, oh, she's really gonna do everything she can to make sure that I'm happy. That's how it was received from this side, just as a reference. But yeah, the assumptive close, you are fantastic at that.
What's the hardest thing that you've ever faced in an appointment? Just yell it out.
I think for me, when I was in sales, right, mine was that both decision makers weren't there,
Yeah.
or that I couldn't identify who the decision maker was.
So the pre-phone call, I was going to say this actually, a glitch on my part has been the pre-listing phone call. Are both decision makers going to be there? And then actually a little pre-qualifying is usually one of my earlier questions in person is, do you still owe on this house? It is relevant.
Yeah.
It really truly is relevant. And the number of appointments I've gone on where I'm sitting there going, oh my God, these people can't possibly afford to sell. This is a total waste of time. And I've been here, they won't let me out of the kitchen table for 2 hours. You know what I mean? I gotta get up. So I just gotta get up and walk out. That's a mistake on my part because I didn't call and ask that question up front. I consider.
So say you ask for both decision makers, are they gonna be there? And say it's the wife and she's like, well, I can handle this. My husband does his own thing. He won't be there, he can't be there, but I'm handling it. So I wanted to.
So I've been on that appointment 2 weeks ago, actually, if the couple's getting divorced, but they're in complete alignment. I've never been in complete alignment with anybody in divorce, so never divorced, but but just saying, so interesting, really good question. First of all, you need, when you think about just business, put your business brain on for a minute. You need more appointments set than appointments gone on. You're going to set some appointments that end up being weak, that you don't go on, or they cancel, or they're getting divorced or whatever. So you need a whole bunch of appointments set. But it is exciting to go on an appointment. And we all like to go on appointments. And every single person in this room should love the thrill of meeting the new person and trying to bring them into your world. That's like literally half of our job description. So when you go on that appointment, and I have been on that appointment, I'm telling you, just 2 weeks ago. Now Tuesday night, I'm doing a little bit of a repeat because I'm meeting them both, but they asked to meet on Zoom because, they're in complete alignment, so they need to meet on Zoom. And so,
Yeah.
but that's okay. You know what? I mean, it happens. It happens. And sometimes it's true. And sometimes it's not true. And I hate to keep going back to this divorce thing, but sometimes, if there's a divorce going on, you'll be ended talking to the attorneys anyway. So,
Yeah.
And I'd rather go on the point is, I would say you need to set a bunch of appointments, then you go on this many appointments, and then this many people are going to sign. You're going to see your, the kind of see your metrics track. So you still need appointments to go on.
So you're saying it's almost better to just,
Personally, I would probably go on the appointment, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean you should totally waste your time all the time.
I mean, I don't see that as like a reason not to go. It's
Right.
more of, okay, how do I then on the appointment, because I know going into it, she's probably not signing anything because she's probably gonna say to me,
I gotta talk to my husband.
I gotta talk to my husband, so it's like you're going in knowing that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to,
Hey, I'd love to connect with your husband as well. Can I put him on an email chain? Can we all be in a text group together?
Love that.
Something like that. And also there's times where like one party can show you the house and the other party, can have the business aspect of the meeting. Then, you guys want to hear my best story ever though? Wait, before we wrap, and I want to hear 2 more takeaways. So everybody think of some kind of takeaway. But I gotta tell you my best ever story. This is craziness. I drove to, I want to say, wait, where's Clarkburg? Westlake?
Yeah.
I drove to Westlake. Remember this?
Yeah.
I drove to Westlake, and the guy, just a guy, and he shows me the house, and he's getting divorced, and they're in alignment. And okay. So then we did the show the house first part, sit down later. He has a home office. And the way the house was situated, I'm sitting like this, and he's behind the desk, and there's a door right there. At which point, somebody comes in with their suitcase, and it goes, a woman, yes. And she goes, who's that? Oh my God, I almost died. Luckily, I was wearing a blazer. Usually I just try to go to listing appointments kind of dressed up a little bit. And I had business cards in my pocket. And I stood up. It's his wife, who he's divorcing, who she doesn't know that he's something. And it had been a realtor referral. That's the other thing. It had been a referral from a realtor in Michigan. So I walked up and I said, "Hi, I'm Shoshana Socher with Fellow Williams, sitting here right forward." And she goes, "How did you get here?"
You're like in my car.
I said, I'm here from Michigan sent me, and it wasn't somebody I know. It was just, it was a referral. I'm telling you, my heart is beating even when I hear this story. And then she picks up her phone and she goes, "Was it her?" Anyway,
Was
and I said, "Guys, I am just so sorry to be here and to be in the middle of this." And I picked up my things and I drove away. Oh my God, so awkward and so embarrassing. And then they listed with somebody else on top of it. Wow. Anyway, that was the craziest thing that ever happened to me at a listing, and it was so awkward. Wow. Sometimes you don't appoint with one person, it doesn't work out. That's the takeaway. Anyway, a couple of takeaways from today.
I'll start. I like how in the packet, like you work backwards with the math and like showing them the numbers, and if you could just jot down like the categories that you use, like closing costs.
Sure.
taxes.
I'm always use the exact same categories, which is I take their sale price. This is actually a little the other way around, but this is mortgage, property taxes, closing costs, commissions, and in your pocket. Now, the reason I did it backwards here is I learned from becoming an investor that I bake my profit in first. So if you're gonna become any kind of investor, you wanna think about your profit, right, on the house you're buying. So if you're buying at 50 and you wanna, and you gotta bake in $150,000 profit, is there $100,000, right? And then you gotta put 50 in, is it gonna sell at 150? So, or plus all the closing costs and blah, blah, blah. Is it gonna sell at 170? So that's why I did it backwards like this. You could do it either way. The math is the same.
I actually like that you've done it backwards because I think what you've said to me in the presentation is it does take away, like, I don't care about the purchase or the sales price as much, and I only care about what I'm netting. And I think the way you do it this way helps kind of like
Get
take
the
that out of
psychological.
take that out of your head for sure.
Well, something else?
I don't know if anybody else thought this was great, but I love that she loves butter. Like I love that. Yeah.
So even though Kate would say something that you didn't totally agree with, like she'd say the house is worth, I want to list 450. Instead of you being combative, everything she said that maybe I knew right away you didn't agree with, you don't let them know you don't agree with it.
Yeah.
You're not combative. You kind of agree with it, you smile, and then you turn it around softly to say your point. I love that.
Thank you.
I think Eric Akbar was here during an objection class and he commented on the art of handling an objection. And he mentioned that if you change your mindset and it's not an objection they're giving you, it's just an observation that they're saying, you can like hold their hand and walk with them instead of pulling and
That's
tugging.
brilliant.
Yeah, it's like,
There's no pulling and
you're like, thank you for telling me that. Let's
Yeah.
keep going. You did that very well. It's very true.
I mean, another good line like that I've heard is like, if I'm gonna be negotiating on your behalf, you have to negotiate with the seller upfront in order to negotiate the offer later on.
So true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Something else? Somebody want to go one of the last 3 rows?
I guess I would say the thing that kind of towards the tail end was like, we have to we are the professional, right? You have to, I feel like sometimes I just like agree just for the sake of agreeing and just kind of like trying to get the paperwork signed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's almost like an opportunity to show, your value, I guess.
True.
Right? You know what you're talking about. And it's obviously important. But yeah.
When you say discount brokerage, is that the only way you should discredit another realtor?
I don't know, but it made me feel bad about my crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was like, this is a friend.
Time to get another realtor
At
free.
family reunion this year, there was a guy there that said, someone was like, oh, I have someone that's, telling me 2%. And he goes, oh, wow, it's actually high for them.
Oh my God.
Oh, there we go.
It's really amusing that.
I like that.
Were you?
Oh, yeah, how you helped her, guys came to an agreement ahead of time, but she still wanted the price high and 21 days. Like, let her know ahead of time, like, this is what we're gonna do.
Right.
We're gonna be any surprises.
Depressing but true.
Yeah,
Then it almost felt like it was kind of your decision too.
yeah, you're 100% right. It did make me as a consumer feel that way.
That brings me to a question, Shoshana, why 21 days?
Oh, it may be too long in this market. Might be too long. It depends on how much market time is. It is crazy, but I can't understand market times right now because really, truly, when I looked at these solds, one of the sold stays on market is 195 days. And I do say that to people straight up, you will hate me if your house is on the market 195 days. So this appointment that Alex and I just went on for condo in Beechwood, the comps are so clear, so clear. It's one building, it's one style, it's one, set of parameters. There's sales there. He still wanted to overprice by $40,000, right? About $40,000. And I was like, did we not? Did I speak in English? Did we not? Did I not just show you every single thing? So yeah, but so I said to him, I said, and then his objection was that we might want to have Passover Seder here in the building. When's Passover? You guys, April, right? I was like, oh, no, not waiting for April. No. So then, you know, that just brings you to this whole other set of like, you have to realize in that case, it was his dad's place. I was like, oh, he might be, did you say he was 71? I think he said 71. He might be 71, but he still has the emotional attachment to his dad who just passed. Because you know what? I don't care how old you are, when your father passes away, it's sad. So he's thinking, oh, I better hang on to this condo for 6 months with all the fees, taxes, and everything else. In order to host an event in somebody's who died's condo, doesn't make any sense. But the emotions, I'm saying, like so you have to tap into the person's like
Their motivation.
yeah. So you have to get out of your own head and into what they're, you know.
How do you do with sellers that don't do things on their checklist they're supposed to? Like when you recommend
Right.
clean that.
Yeah, so if you come back for whatever reason for photos and I have all 21 children here and there's dog things everywhere and
You know, there was a house this summer in Beechwood actually where I personally moved the furniture while the teenage son sat on the couch.
Whoa.
I know.
Oh,
And I was thinking, okay, tell me you have like a hurt back or something like that because when I'm moving, they're not even going to help me. But and then they left me a 4-star review. I was thinking, was that a typo? But you know, you work with it. Either you say to them, look, you're really not photo ready. And this is my newest thing. I'm telling you to just, you don't need this whole big to do. You could ask an interior decorator for one for free or anything, but whatever. But you don't need this. But run into Farmer Mills or next door Home Depot, just grab some meat chips. You don't have to particularly use it as a prop. It's a prop just to say like, hey, you know, you think like actors, they all have props, right? We're not acting, but you know, oh my God, I showed you guys. Rosanna listening last week. One set of walls is fuchsia and one set of walls is mustard yellow. It's really bad. It's super ugly and she can't it herself and she looked crazy. It's not good. So I was able to say, you know, these days we're seeing that a lot of people are using this Nantucket dove rather than or whatever, you know, rather than these colors, just to let you know. Have you looked at Zillow lately? That's the other thing. Is any buyer, seller, sorry. Have you looked at Zillow? Because guess what? Every single person has looked at Zillow lately. And what do they see when they look at Zillow?
Not fuchsia.
No, they don't. They see beauty. And they see serene. My dad, bless his heart, used to send me when he was alive, but he used to send me we lived in San Diego. He used to send me these magazines, these house magazines from San Diego. He's like, in case you want to copy the descriptions before, you know. And I've been looking at them and I'm like, Dad, what am I going to use from a San Diego beachfront property in Cleveland? It's just
Lakefront.
lakefront, yeah. But the point is, say to them, are you looking at Zillow? And say it's serious, you know, are you looking at Zillow at all? Yes. What do you see when you look at Zillow? Because this is just not what the consumer is thinking. Or the consumer should look like.
I have a very specific question, if that's okay. So what would you do with the seller that purchased a rental a year ago? They're wanting to sell it now. They purchased it for 20,000 less than what they wanted to list it for. They were very specific at what they wanted to list it for. We are now down, been on the market. It's not the greatest area. It's not the worst either. We're down to 3,000 from where they purchased it. It's been on the market for over 100 days.
I'm shocked.
What would you do with them?
Tell them
Like,
about butter.
They're definitely gonna.
Tell them about
money.
butter, or you can
already.
make an analogy, but they didn't get to choose the price. The market chooses the price. And the market price today, I mean, who was surprised over this last year with that? My God. I mean,
Oh,
it's just
yeah.
like,
Yeah,
it's like
the-
free, and then all
yeah.
they'll look free. And it's the same thing with houses. It was priced there then, and unfortunately, the market is telling us that the price isn't what it's for.
I asked him directly, do you feel like you overpaid? Because he bought it off.
Oh,
And there was yes and no, like if he would have kept it long-term rental, he doesn't feel like he overpaid. Unsellable. He's gonna buy a building for his business.
right.
So I'm just not really, it.
Can I give you a
very-
Say that to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, so something else with me, like, I listen to my voice, you listen to your voice recording and you hate how you sound. But, sometimes you have to relax your vocal cords. And put your sad voice on. Oh, you know what? It's really, really hard to not get the money out of the place that you thought you were going to. And not in a pandering, Dolly's laughing, she thinks I'm pandering, but you have to, sometimes, you know, or sometimes you have to kind of go more combative and be the boss. Like, but sometimes you have to have your sad voice. But for somebody who, an investor, I feel like there's no sad voice because an investor is there for the dollars and an investor is there for the numbers. And an investor knows that the numbers didn't work in his favor in this case. You win some, you lose some. Every single investment with who invests here, investors, is every single investment you buy a slam dunk? Not investor at all? No. No. Yeah. Well, yeah. Who cares invested in property? No. Okay. Is every single one a slam dunk? No, sad, bummer, right? You try for 100%, but every single one is not a slam dunk. That one was not a slam dunk. And maybe he did overpay. And guess what? If you bought off market, shame on him. Because that way you didn't, or better for you, because that way you didn't pull the sale price. At least you didn't sell it to him and they took it back from him and go, right. But the market in a year didn't gain that kind of equity.
Sure.
Yeah, that's it.
It didn't even rent the way that it did for the previous owner.
Yeah, rent, I don't know.
Previous owner, it was a slam dunk.
We're finding the rent, Dahlia and I are finding the rental market really tough right now. I don't know what happened in the rental market. It's weird. So,
I was gonna say, like, in this case, and when it comes to pricing, like, Cleveland Heights, like, point of sale.
oh yeah, point of sale, right? I
we
didn't
talked
even bring
about
up the
that,
point
but
of sale,
yeah,
right?
make the city the bad guy in this case.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea too.
What if they, like, let's say you're gonna do accelerating, they say, well, I have to bring agents that I can do the most one, like in price match or like also then want to pay the fire agent commission as well.
I am so worth it. Just know it in your heart before you have any, no comeback yet. No comeback yet. Every single person in this room is worth what they're paid. It is a self-esteem issue. I really believe that getting paid is a self-esteem issue. And if you don't come at it that way, then you're gonna take commission cuts all day long. Have I ever taken a commission cut? Of course I have. Of course I have. Never let anybody get away with paying less than $250. Otherwise it will come out of your own pocket and it pisses me off every time I have to give. And I love there are brokers. Love. I do not want to pay fees for my client. But that's a no. So never back down from that. You know what? It's a cost of doing business. It costs a lot of money to, you ever work with an attorney? You ever gone to an accountant? You know, you ever get your taxes done? It costs money to do business, and this is a cost of doing business.
It's actually so funny that that question was brought up. And I know we're over, so thank you guys all. But I was in at family reunion 2 years ago. They had, I forget who was speaking, but he just said, well, I don't sell, I just tell. And I tell them that this is my commission. And if they ask me if I price match, I just say no. And just, that's a complete sentence.
Yeah.
And you could just sit, and if they have other further questions, they can ask them. But sometimes that's all it is it's just a question. It's not really like a.
They feel like they have to ask.
Yeah. And especially with sellers with parents still alive. Parents are always in ears of like, well, you should ask if they can price match. Like sometimes it's just a question. And it doesn't mean you won't get the listing. Yeah.
Years ago, Terry Chinlefsky said something that I have never forgotten. She said, if I can't protect my money, how do you expect me to protect yours?
Yeah, love that.
Okay.
That's
Straight out of maps. Very scary. All right, guys. Well, thank you for coming so much.